Therefore, it comprises of professionals such as engineers, hydrogeologists, hydrologists, engineering geologists, social scientists, agronomists, etc. Therefore, to exchange the knowledge and experience among these professionals, NENCID is organizing this Friday Talk program with the name of Irrigation and Drainage Talk series. This event will be held every second Friday of Bikram Samvat calendar, and today's webinar is the first in this series. For smooth operation of the webinar, I would like to request for your kind cooperation with the following ground rules. This session will be an hour long. First 20 to 30 minutes will be a presentation, which will be followed by a question and answer and discussion round. I request you to kindly mute your microphone and maximize the use of chat box for questions or comments or to express your viewpoints. In case you need to ask questions or provide inputs verbally, please unmute yourself before speaking. Now, with this brief background, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Vishnu Prasad Pandey from Institute of Engineering, Pulchok campus, who is also an executive committee member of NENCID, to introduce the speaker and to moderate the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jigyasa madam. Sabai sir madam harulai मैले नमस्कार गरे. नमस्कार सबैजनालाई. आजको प्रोग्रामको स्पिकर हुनुहुन्छ डाक्टर अनन्त सिंह प्रधान. He is a senior divisional engineering geologist with Water Resources Research and Development Center under Ministry of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation. I believe most of us already know him well. His scientific interest lies in spatial prediction modeling being applied primarily in framework of natural hazards. His research focuses on combined physically based and statistical methods to predict landslide susceptibility. From an initial interest in rainfall-induced landslides, he has recently switched his attention to the combination of an oil and rainfall-induced landslide prediction. He has over 40 peer-reviewed journal articles and 5 books under his credit. With this very brief introduction, I would like to invite Dr. Pradhan for his talk on understanding landslide risk and its implication. So he will be talking for 20 to 30 minutes, and then another 30 minutes will be followed by a discussion. Dr. Pradhan, please, and the floor is yours.
Can share box, sir?
Oh, you duita slide आइरहेछ यो
slide यो अर्को sorry एकछिन स्टप गरे है मैले यो के हुने हो
हामीले यसलाई धेरै फर्मल प्रोग्राम भन्दा नि एकदम डाइरेक्टली फोकस्ड अन पोइन्टको हिसाबले टेक्निकल प्रोग्रामको रूपमा लैरहेका छौं यसलाई यही अनुसार बुझिदिनु हुन मैले सबै सर म्याडमहरुलाई आग्रह पनि गर्न चाहन्छु
I guess now it is okay.
Yeah, it's okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Professor Pandey, for introducing me. Thank you, NENCID, for having me here. Okay, today I would like to talk on understanding landslide risks and its implication. Actually, this topic is too vague. No, so technically there are different type of risks: technical risks, and other is the simple formal risks. In this training, I would in this presentation, I would like to take some liberty, and I will divert a little bit debate from this main topic. So I think, yeah, it will be okay. Now the presentation, it will be about 20 minutes. I'm Ananta Pradhan. I'm Senior Divisional Engineering Geologist, and working in Water Resources Research and Development Center. This is my email address. You can send email or you can ask any related question. If you have, you can drop an email. So this is the coverage of my presentation. It starts with why landslide batter Nepal every year, followed by trends of landslide occurrence in Nepal, then spatio-temporal distribution of landslide, followed by landslide susceptibility, rainfall threshold, and scaling shifting. So as a whole, this whole presentation can be divided into two parts. One is from 1 to 6 coverages, and another is remaining 6 part. Here I try to give some concept how we can work it further. So let's start with why landslide batter Nepal every year. Now we can see, and now I don't want to go thoroughly, and everybody knows like landslide is one of the most disaster. It can kill a lot of people in Nepal. So we can see from here the total death from 2011, 2010 to till date. We can see 31.89% of casualties happen by landslide. Similarly, from flood and nowadays the thunderbolt is also in the rampage. Here now we can say that according to government reports, more than 80% of country of total people is any kind different kind of risks of natural disaster, putting Nepal among the top 20 most excuse me, okay, 20 most disaster prone countries in the world. Here are some glimpses from different natural disaster, different landslide occurrences in 2019. It has been taken from different sources. Now, the main fundamental thing is the geology. Everybody knows the Himalaya is the product of the collision between Indian and Eurasian plate, and everybody says the report says, and scientific report is it says the Himalaya is still rising about meter or 2 centimeter. Exactly, I'm sorry, exactly. I'm not remembering that. So this is the actually the fundamental thing is that the tectonic active mountain it rises, and for the balance there should be some erosion. So the upliftment balance between the upliftment and the erosion it occurs generate the landslides. So here is the geological map of uh, from published by DLG. Now we can see the Surya. This Shivalik range is the youngest most range of the world. So this kind of immature geology, fragile geology, and topography it also help to better the landslide in Nepal. Similarly, the second major reason is I am the host. Yeah, I have to give permission for others, right? Or Jigyasa ji, can you do that?
No, I will do the admission of the participants.
Oh, okay. The other is the rainfall. Yeah, we know that 80% of total annual rainfall that concentrated in the monsoon season. And because of natural climate change or other thing, I don't want to go precisely, but it says Nepal is experiencing high intensity and low duration rainfall. So this kind of high intense rainfall and infiltration, it says 90%, 69% of the landslide occur because of that kind of infiltration and that intense rainfall. The third is so I cannot change, okay, some errors. Yeah, the third is earthquake, and we can experiences from Gorkha earthquake 2015, and we can see here is the Lamtang Valley. Here was a beautiful village, and after that the dry landslide after the earthquake setting, the whole village is rubble. So the earthquake topography, geology, and rainfall is the major causes of landslide in Nepal. Here is some glimpses, the newspaper cuttings and website cuttings for about the landslides news in Nepal. Now we can see there are different, from that in the period of monsoon season, we can get this kind of news frequently. Now I would like to highlight something that is major players of landslides in Nepal. Now I am talking about the governmental agency, not excluding the outsiders. So in the government agency, the MOHA, Ministry of Home Affairs, is in the central part, and its responsibility is the rescue, response, and assessment. And under that MOHA, now we can see the NDRRMA, whose major job is for the awareness of the people, like NRA, the reconstruction and rehabilitation. And in previously, we had DWIDM. I know why that DWIDM collapses. You know better than me. So it has implementation agencies. The responsibility was the implementation, like prevention, mitigation, and preparedness. Similarly, there is one project, that is a vulnerable landslide management project under DOWRI, and there is one section, landslide section, DOWRI. I don't know. I think the budget is allocated as null, zero. And these are the major players. Now, there are so many that agencies, but the resource, number of resource is very low. Where is the resource? To fulfill that resource, and we, WRRDC, try to take a lead for landslide investigations and landslide studies, and make a report, make the that resources, and make the report and provide to other agencies like in the RRMA and other implementing agencies or the OWRI. Now let's go to the coverage number 2, that is trend of landslide occurrences in Nepal. Actually, the studies of landslide in Nepal is too old. It started around in 60s, and from that, the documentation is very weak at that time. But WRRDC tried to the database from 1970 to 2020, and we have collected about 2,981 fatal landslides, and it shows that from 1970 to 2020, we can see the number of landslides. The spikes are concentrated in these 4 months, and surprisingly, in the dry period like November, December, January, February, there is also a significant number of landslides has been occurred these days. Now we can see this is the for the days, and this is the number of landslide. After 2004, 2003, you see the huge amount of landslide, huge number of landslide has occurred in Nepal Himalaya. Is this a relation with something natural thing or unnatural thing like so-called development? So from this database, we can see about 3,525 recorded fatalities. And if we make that averages, every year there is 70 deaths. We can find that. And yeah, I would like to talk the most likely explanation for the increasement of this landslide in the dry period. Maybe it coincides with the road building programs. Now we can see this is map, Google image before 2010, and this is the image at 2016. So we can compare the disaster between the previous year and the recent year, and that may be because of the coincidence of so-called dozer road terror. And similarly, now from the database we can see some the middle hill districts are the high susceptible for landslide. There is a lot of number of landslides. The density also says the mid-hill portion, it has a high concentration of the hot spots. We can see the hot spots here, the high concentration of landslide in the middle range of the our Himalaya. And later on, I will discuss a little bit about that Sindhu Parsu district. So I have made a remark here. I have put the mark here. Now, okay, the spatio-temporal distribution of landslide. Let's talk about that. Here, the identification of landslide, spatio-temporal distribution of landslide means the distribution of landslide spatially, geographical distribution, and temporal means the time-dependent landslide. Here, I try to collect it, the landslides from different ages. This is one example. So from that example, here I will show you how we can collect the landslides from different years. Here, the Arsula district, and this spike is very popular to us. And here I try to make, here I already told you this is an example. I try to make some landslide inventories, identification of landslide. Here I use the machine learning tool, that is convolution neural network. In previous years, we had to digitize the map or Google Earth, in Google Earth or in satellite images. Here, now this algorithm help us to make the landscape inventories. Here I use the Sentinel-2 image. This is optical image. From that Sentinel image, I extract NDVI, DEM. From DEM, the various parameters like slope, aspect, and curvature can be extracted. And similarly, in the Google Earth image, where a landslide can be prominently can be seen, this landslide can be digitized or can be make points inside that landslide, and that means we can make identify the tone of that satellite image with the various parameters. So from that, these parameters, yeah, here I make a landslide in 2016. This is landslide distribution in Darjeeling district in 2017, 2018, 2019, and this is the combination of landslide from 2016 to 2019. So after that, I already told this is an example. So I displayed just for one district. Now you can see this map. This map shows the similar technique. We use the similar technique, and one of my subordinate also involved in this data acquisition process. Here you can see more 37,095 landslide polygons were extracted from that images, DEM, and other using the convolution neural network. And from that database, now we can make we can do the further process. Similarly, like we can see the spatio-temporal data. This inventory reveals that the abundance of landslide is varies with the size. That means landslides, the size of the landslides matter. The number of landslides reduces with the increase of the size. This is the frequency and this is the bin size. Similarly, this curve shows the probability density of landslide. Now this curve, it shows the number of landslide, the area of landslide, it increases. As the area of landslide increases, the probability density of occurrence is also that is decreases. It has an inverse relationship, and this power equation also, that we can get a power equation, and that power equation, it says the probability of occurrence of danger of specific size of landslide using this formula. Yeah, we can use this formula. Yeah, okay. Now the next is the landslide susceptibility. Now in Nepal Himalaya, we can get so many reports, like in DWIDM also did so many landslide susceptibility mapping landslide hazard maps. So yeah, I try to make a landslide susceptibility map of whole country. For this, let's start define the landslide susceptibility. There is a confusion between landslide hazard and landslide susceptibility. The confusion is that there is a definite definition between the definition of landslide susceptibility and landslide hazard. Like landslide susceptibility means the relative occurrence of danger. That is just the relative probability of danger. And hazard is the probability of occurrence of danger or occurrence of landslide within a specific period of time and in a given area. That means if we include the time, that means that is a landslide hazard map. And if we don't include the time, like rainfall has a time, it has a reoccurrence time, it has a return period, it has a duration. So if this kind of data is not included, that is landslide susceptibility, and this data included, that is landslide hazard. Similarly, risks. Here, the same hazard can reflect the different kind of risks. Suppose this is going to be happen, the landslide is going to be happen. There is a building. That means nothing will happen here. So this is low risk, and this is the exposure. That is the element aggregates in that landslide. So here different method exists. This is the if we in Google Scholar, if you type landslide susceptibility or landslide hazard, we can get the thousands of paper, 10,000 of paper in a month. So here I also try to make that kind of landslide susceptibility for nationwide. So here now you can see there are different type of method. That is expert opinion method, which is, I think, this is the best method. Data mining model. There are so many data mining models exist. Probability model, statistical model, and physical based model. In all model, we need some parameter. Like in physical based model, we need slope, we need soil parameters, we need soil depth, we need infiltration. In another parameters, we need different type of parameters like elevation, slope, and other geology. And this all method, it says just do the overlay analysis in pixel wise. So after that, running the model and overlay analysis, we can get the landslide susceptibility. Now here is some database which I acquired to make the landslide susceptibility map of Nepal. This is DEM, which is 30 by 30 meter resolution SRTM digital database. And from this, I made slope, drainage proximity, curvature, similarly topographic wetness index, stream power index, sediment transport index. And this is geological map acquired from DMG, and this is rainfall map. This is acquired from DSM. So after getting this, I discard some tiny landslide because our least count of meter square. So smaller than 900 meter square, if you include in the landslide method training, it will give some nonsense data, nonsense result. So I excluded this landslide with the area which has area less than 900 meters square. So only 29,720 landslides are selected, and among them 80% of the landslide are selected for the training, and remaining are testing for the model. And here we can see the elevation. The elevation for less than 890, it has a low probability of landslide occurrence, and around 1600 to here, it has a high possibility of landslide. Similarly, for the slope, if there is a great slope, there is a great chance of landslide. So this kind of analysis has been done. Now this is the I use the artificial neural network or machine learning. For the presence of data, we made a binary number. For 1, that means the presence of landslide, and 0, that means the absence of landslide. And this is the result of landslide susceptibility of whole Nepal Himalaya. Now I think it's quite good, but this is a first run. Now we have to run a different way and with different parameters. We can see this is, here is the Sindh district, a part of Sindh district. This is like the red zone. It says the landslide possible susceptibility, very high landslide susceptibility area. And this is the Muna Road, Muslim Narangarh Road. Here also we can see the high susceptible zone. Yeah, this is a little bit, the result of landslide susceptibility in the whole regional scale and in the minute scale, it may be a little bit different. So it can that's the red zone in this area. Now, this is the how we can test the accuracy of our model. There is our result. The best method is wait and see. First of all, make your model and wait for the next rainfall. But this kind of process is irrelevant, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of money. We have to wait for to validate our model. We have to wait for a decade maybe. Now, so I try to make this accuracy using the statistical model. This model is known as the receiver operating characteristic curve. So from that characteristic curve, we can see the area under the curve of the training data. That is 80% of data is 0.796. That means the training model is accurate. 79.6% is accurate. And for the test model, here we can see 0.767. That means 76.7% of 20% of data is the accurately classified. Here I would like to talk about the rainfall threshold. The rainfall threshold, the study of rainfall threshold has been started in 80s. First of all, the Moon and Kaine from Singh, they established a rainfall threshold first of all, and after that, after a long time, in 2008, the Hall and Hasiguwa, they tried to establish that landslide rainfall threshold. And around the world also, we can see in different countries, especially in Italy and Japan, they use ID and CD curve, that is the intensity and duration, and which is related to the landslide, and cumulative rainfall and duration. At the time of landslide, we can calculate, we can, if we got this kind of database, we can draw a landslide, the threshold. That means after exceeding this line, there may be a landslide. So here is a small, simple kind of that power equation. The I is intensity, this alpha n minus beta is the coefficient, and this is the duration. Here, the most important thing is data. We have everything except data. So here, that's why I try to make that rainfall threshold using the immerse data, which is free, and it is half-hourly available. So for you here in Sindh, one of my students also doing the same thing in his thesis, and so we develop a rainfall threshold. This threshold we apply for the preliminary early warning system. So here is the 5%, 20%, and 50% rainfall threshold. These are the zone. The below this 5% rainfall threshold, this is null, and this red zone is the alarm. So in that alarm, yeah, we have to evacuate from that area. And this is the rainfall data, that satellite rainfall data. This is the snake line of rainfall of Levy landslide. Yeah. From this, now we can establish a preliminary that early warning system for the Sindh district. But unfortunately, we did not get the hourly rainfall data. So we have, first of all, we have to correlate, we have to tally, and we have to bias correct some of this satellite data. After that, we can go more accurately toward the nature. Similarly, that is this null or this zone alarm, attention, and what is this is the meaning of the significant meaning of this colors. That means null, that is below 5%. That means that response should be what kind of response we have to give. No warning will be given to the local authorities or the population. Similarly, for the alarm, very great chance of landslide occurrence in the next hour. So these are very subjective and gray box model. See, and now my student and we are trying to combine. We believe that the landslide susceptibility and rainfall threshold can be combined to make the dynamic type of landslide hazard. Here we develop an algorithm that is, if the landslide susceptibility is high and rainfall threshold is in the alarm, the landslide susceptibility is high and rainfall threshold is in alarm, that zone must be very high. If this does satisfy, we have to go down and we have to try this domain. If this does satisfy, we have to go down. Similarly, this algorithm work for the very high to very low landslide hazard, dynamic hazard zone. Okay, for the next, this is my second part of landslide. This is my coverage. This is scale shifting. This is a concept of granularity. Here, what is the concept of granularity? First of all, very yeah, I will describe very briefly. Here is the distribution of landslide of Sindhu-Baltic district. This is an example from the Sindhu-Baltic district. This is the landslide distribution in 2020. Here, this is we did one job in Korea for the nuclear power station, and I try to replicate same method in Sindhu-Baltic district. Here, now we can see I use a deep neural network method to state the factor of safety of landslide. And after that, that factor of safety can be combined with the probability of landslide to get the most probable area or source area for the runout. So that's why here, this is from our publication. I use a pseudo statistics model. And from that pseudo statistics model, yeah, we can find the factor of safety of hill slope. And in this equation, in previous equations, they use the PGA value in this case in place of KS. But using the PGA value is a little bit conservative because PGA exists only one time for one earthquake, the maximum, and it gradually it goes down. So we change the PGA into this horizontal seismic coefficient. Here, the chi is one coefficient, and we have PGA and divided by Z. Now we can get a horizontal coefficient. And I already told we have lack of data. So one geological unit is treated as a one geotechnical parameter. So from that data, now we can find, like here, this is from the data from the data. So here, this one parameter is treated as one geological unit.
Ananta sir, 30 minutes किन लागेको हुनाले सरले बिस्तारै र्याप अप पनि गर्नुपर्छ कि है सर?
हुन्छ हुन्छ। अब यसलाई र्याप अप गर्दै हालौँ हैन? अब यसलाई यो यस्तो हो। यसमा चाहिँ दुईटा मोडल I try to combine to find the most likely landslide initiation area. This is a factor of safety, that is from the previous equation, and this is a factor of safety greater than 90. That is from the whole landslide circular map of Nepal. From that, yeah, we can get the most likelihood landslide initiation point. From that landslide initiation area, we can get the runout. For that runout, we use a very simple kind of model, that is flow. That model, from that model, yeah, we can get a vulnerability index. That vulnerability index is that means the area of building in propagation zone divided by area of propagation zone. My concern is that I'll go here. Most of the now vulnerability or susceptibility or risk map, it is made using the administrative boundary. Like this is rural municipality wise boundaries. From here now we can get this is very moderate type of vulnerability, this is high vulnerability. But this kind of map, it misleads us because in this high vulnerable zone there may be a low vulnerable or safe areas. That's why I try to see the scale, and from here this is municipality to ward wise. Here you can see this is extensive, this is complete. This kind of data we can find, the result we can find, but this is not complete. Here I try to say we have to use the slope unit for physical vulnerability. The slope unit means if this is a small catchment, this one is ridge line and this is line, river line. So we can say this is one slope unit, this is another slope unit, and this is small areas. The small, if we consider all that river, now we can get different number of slope unit, and one slope unit can represent one settlement, right? So here is I shifted the result to the slope units. Now we can see there is a highway, and around highway there is a high susceptible vulnerable areas from the landslide, and this is the enlarged area map, and this is my summary. Summary is data acquisition and data sharing. If everything gathered myself, and if I don't provide to others, there is no meaning. So we have to share the data, we have to acquisition the data, we have to collect, and we have to share. And for the landslide or on the everything, we have to go for the simple models. And I recommend the slope unit for the further mapping. And for this research, there are some limitation. The limitation is I use 30 by 30 meter resolution DEM. The study is entirely based on text study and modeling. And my recommendation is catchment scale geomorphic map for geohazard is the best. Now, okay, I want to show you one slide. WRRC is now trying to experiment different rainfall related landslide in the Godavari lab, and here we have the debris probe plume and landslide plume, and we will find the rainfall, the real rainfall using the rainfall simulator, and we will find what will be the coverage if there the landslide occur. Okay, thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ananta.
It is a little
very
bit
nice
long.
and comprehensive presentation. It's really appreciable. अब यहाँ च्याट बक्समा अहिलेसम्म दुईटा क्वेसन आएको छ। एउटा क्वेसन चाहिँ खेमरा सरले सोध्नु भएको छ, जस्तै हाम्रो भी शेप्ड भ्यालीहरुमा सामान्यतया रिभर एक्सनले गर्दा कटिङ गर्छ हैन, त्यसको ब्याङ्क बेडलाई, जसले गर्दा त्यो रक बिस्तारै वेदर हुँदै सोइल लसको फर्ममा गएर अल्टिमेटली सोइल लस हुन्छ। केही फेनोमेनन एकदम स्टिप कटिङ स्लोपहरुमा भयो भने त्यसले ल्यान्डस्लाइड अकर गर्न सक्छ। यसमा तपाईको एक्सपीरियन्स केही छ कि भन्नु भएको छ उहाँले? त्यसो गर्दाखेरि त्यो चिजलाई त्यो फेनोमेननलाई कुनै वेमा मोडलिङ गरेर सोलुसन यस्तो हुन सक्छ भन्ने पनि गर्न सकिन्छ कि भन्ने चाहिँ मैले अलिकति जोड्न खोजे सर। त्यो एउटा पहिलो क्वेसन।
एकदम यो एकदम नेचुरल क्वेसन हो। यो हामी चाहिँ सोइल साइन्टिस्टहरु यसो फिल्डमा जाँदा पनि देखिरहेको कुराहरु हो। यस्तो छ, हामीले यसो हेर्दा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने वेयर द स्लोप इज स्टिफ देयर इज लट अफ ल्यान्डस्लाइड, त्यो किसिमको हाम्रो कन्सेप्ट हुन्छ। त्यो चाहिँ अलिकति चाहिँ लिटल बिट त्यस्तो कन्सेप्ट चाहिँ लिनु भएन है। अब जस्तै चाहिँ रिभर कटिङको कुरा गर्नुभयो, रिभर कटिङ अब यो नेचुरल वे the river cutting गरिहाल्छ र स्टिप स्लोपहरुमा चाहिँ ल्यान्डस्लाइड जान्सिङको प्रोबेबिलिटी हाई हुन्छ भनेर भन्नुभएको छ। अब जस्तै यो छ, यहाँबाट चाहिँ रिभर कटिङ भएको छ भने अभियसली यो स्लिप हुन्छ अथवा टोपल हुन्छ, एउटा कुरा भयो। तर नेचुरल स्लोपहरुमा चाहिँ के हुँदो रहेछ भने होरिजोन्टल स्लोप छ भने ल्यान्डस्लाइड कम हुन्छ, जति यो बढ्दै जान्छ ल्यान्डस्लाइड बढ्दै बढ्दै आउँछ, र जति धेरै स्लोप भयो अब के हुन्छ ल्यान्डस्लाइड कम हुँदै आउँछ। किनभने तपाईको यो भर्टिकल, यो पनि त हियर इज अ काइन्ड अफ भर्टिकल स्लोप, यो पनि भर्टिकल स्लोप भयो। त्यसैले यसलाई बढाउँदै जाँदा चाहिँ यदि यो भर्टिकल स्लोपको सेन्टर अफ ग्राभिटी टुवर्ड्स सेन्टर अफ मास चाहिँ टुवर्ड्स ग्राभिटी भयो भने यो सोइल स्लोप चाहिँ सोलो सोइल स्लोप छ भने त्यो स्टेबल हुन सक्छ भन्ने लाग्छ।
खेम सरले सोध्नु भएको क्वेसनको आन्सर आयो कि? डु यु हेभ एनी फलो अप क्वेसन खेम सर? केही छ भने यसो जोड्न सक्नुहुन्छ, होइन भने हामी अर्को क्वेसनमा जान्छौँ।
सर अर्कोमा जाम।
हस्, थ्यांक यू सर। अर्को क्वेसन चूर्ण ओली सरले राख्नु भएको छ। इफ पोसिबल प्लिज इलाबोरेट अबाउट द वे अफ युटिलाइजेसन अफ अ रिपोर्ट इन डिजास्टर और ल्यान्डस्लाइड म्यानेजमेन्ट, यसलाई कसरी युटिलाइज गर्न सकिन्छ भन्नेमा तपाईको थट्स माग्नु भएको छ।
थ्यांक यू चूर्ण सर। अब यस्तो छ, डिजास्टर अब यो ल्यान्डस्लाइडको कुरा गर्नु भने चाहिँ कुनै ल्यान्डस्लाइडलाई चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ मिटिगेट गर्नुपर्छ, कुनै ल्यान्डस्लाइड रोक्नुपर्छ, कुनै ल्यान्डस्लाइडलाई चाहिँ के पनि गर्नु पर्दैन। किनभने ल्यान्डस्लाइड भनेको नेचुरल फेनोमेना हो। ल्यान्डस्लाइड किन जान्छ भने ल्यान्डस्लाइड यसको जनरल लेमनलाई चाहिँ दिने एन्सर चाहिँ ल्यान्डस्लाइड चाहिँ स्टेबल हुनलाई ल्यान्डस्लाइड जान्छ, कुनै पनि अनस्टेबल मेटेरियल छ भने। अब त्यो ठाउँ चाहिँ रिस्कमा हुनु भएन भन्ने मात्र हो। अब यसलाई चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भने हाम्रो यो रिसर्च जुन अहिले चाहिँ स्टडी छ त्यसले चाहिँ ल्यान्डस्लाइड ससेप्टिबिलिटी त्यसले चाहिँ एउटा जोडिसन दिनुभयो, रेनफल हुने भयो। अब हामीले त्यो कम्बाइन गरिसकेपछि हाम्रो चाहिँ आइडिया चाहिँ के हो भने एटलिस्ट कुनै एउटा क्याचमेन्टमा कुनै एउटा चाहिँ ठाउँमा चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ यो अवेरनेस क्रिएट गर्नको लागि चाहिँ उदिने हो, मेसेजेसहरू दिने हो। अब यो हामीले दिइसकेन भने पनि जस्तै WRRले यो गर्न सकेन भने चाहिँ हामी NDRR EMAलाई दिन्छौँ, उहाँहरूसँग टाइअप गर्ने हो। अथवा चाहिँ यतापट्टि चाहिँ एमडिसी अथवा चाहिँ मोबाइल चाहिँ कम्पनीहरुसँग टाइप गरेर यसलाई डिजास्टर मिटिगेट गर्नमा चाहिँ इम्प्लिमेन्ट चाहिँ गर्न सकिन्छ। क्वेशन यही थियो।
Thank you. Churna sir, do you have any follow-up questions, if any?
Okay. No more.
Okay, thank you, sir. अरु सरहरुको म्याडमहरुको केही क्वेशन छ कि? यसमा आएको दुईटा क्वेशन चाहिँ यति नै हो। If you pose the question, अन्य बोल्न पनि सक्नुहुन्छ। यसले चाहिँ हामीलाई होरिजन्टल लर्निङमा अझै सहयोग गर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ। सरहरुको लामो एक्सपिरियन्स भएको सर म्याडमहरु पनि हुनुहुन्छ। प्लिज feel free to unmute yourself and share your viewpoints or questions or comments.
Good afternoon. म EGGC मलाई सुनिराखेको छ सर?
सुनिरहेको छु म्याडम।
हजुर म अलिकति ढिलो आएँ, म अफिसबाट आउँदै ढिलो भयो हैन। मेरो क्वेशन अनन्त सरलाई नट रिलेटेड टु योर प्रेजेन्टेशन्स बट रिलेटेड टु द रिसेन्ट फ्लड जुन हामीले मेलम्चीमा देख्यौं। सरले यदि यसलाई हामीले त्यहाँ के भन्यौं भने ल्यान्डस्लाइडहरु त्यो सरले भन्नुभयो भने मैले सुनिन होला सायद हैन सर? त्यो यो ल्यान्डस्लाइड थियो, त्यहाँ ल्यान्डस्लाइड ड्यामहरु बन्यो, त्यो ब्रस्ट भएर त्यो मडहरु आयो भन्ने खालको एकदमै प्रिलिमिनरी इन्फर्मेसन आयो सर। सरको एक्सपिरियन्स, सरको नलेजले चाहिँ के भन्यो सर यसलाई?
यो खासै यो तपाईले सानो एउटा देखाउनु भएको छ, क्याल्कुलेसन इन प्रोग्रेस भन्ने। यो शेयर भइराछ।
भइराछ सर।
मैले खास चाहिँ कस्तो भने यो रिस्क चाहिँ आज यो मेलेन्सको गर्छु भनेर मैले खुब ट्राई गरिरहेको थिएँ। अब यो मैले चाहिँ एउटा मोडल चाहिँ क्रिएट गरेर ब्याक एनालाइसिस गर्न ट्राई गरेको थिएँ। अब यो चाहिँ मोडल चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म रन भइरहेछ। मेरो प्रेजेन्टेसन सकिसक्यो, मोडल चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म सकेको छैन। एक्चुअली चाहिँ हाम्रो इजिजिसी म्यामले सोध्नु भएको कुरा चाहिँ एकदम भ्यालिड कुरा हो हैन। हुन त प्रिलिमिनरी इन्फर्मेसन भए पनि हामीले चाहिँ यो ग्राउन्डमा काम गरिसकेको मान्छेहरु भएको चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने जस्तै अब कुनै स्याटेलाइट इमेज अथवा गुगल अर्थमा हेर्दा पनि वेयर इज द प्रोबेबल सोर्स, व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबल सोर्स, त्यो कुरा देखिन्छ। अब मेरो चाहिँ विचारमा चाहिँ कस्तो छ भने मैले चाहिँ त्यसको त्यहाँको त्यो हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ माथि चाहिँ कुनै टाइममा चाहिँ अब ग्लेसियर थियो होला, अहिले त त्यो ग्लेसियर पुरा चाहिँ रिट्रिट भइसक्यो। अनि त्यो ग्लेसियरले बनाएको चाहिँ मेटेरियलहरु चाहिँ त्यहाँ छ। मैले चाहिँ त्यहाँ मान्छेहरुलाई यसो बुझ्दाखेरि पनि कस्तो रहेछ त्यो हाम्रा थान भन्ने चाहिँ त्यो एरिया चाहिँ भन्दो रहेछ उहाँहरुको भाषामा चाहिँ। अनि त्यो चाहिँ बालुवाको थुप्रो हो भनेर चाहिँ त्यो भन्नुभएको छ। अब यो चाहिँ कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भने पहिला ग्लेसियर भएको चाहिँ त्यसले चाहिँ चङ्किङ एन्ड प्लङ्किङ, त्यो चाहिँ त्यो मुभमेन्ट हुने बेलामा चाहिँ त्यो सबै थुपारेर बालुवाहरु थुपार्ने हैन, जसलाई चाहिँ हामीले मोरेन भनेर भन्छौँ। त्यो थुप्रेर चाहिँ बसेको स्टेबल कन्डिसनमा चाहिँ बसेको हुन सक्छ। अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ गएको अर्थक्वेक पछि चाहिँ त्यसमा आएको चाहिँ डिफरेन्ट क्र्याकहरु, फ्र्याक्चरहरुले गर्दाखेरि पछि रेनफल इन्फिल्ट्रेट हुन चाहिँ सजिलो भयो, अथवा चाहिँ ग्राउन्ड वाटर चाहिँ मुभमेन्ट हुन पनि सजिलो भयो। त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ सडनली अहिलेको चाहिँ त्योबाट चाहिँ डिजास्टर चाहिँ इनिसिएट भएको होला जस्तो लाग्छ।
चाहिँ एउटा पर्टिकुलर कुनै रिजन चाहिँ नि भएन सर, त्यसको लागि 4-5 वटा रिजन टुगेदर कोल्याबोरेसनमा आयो।
अब 4-5 वटा रिजनलाई
जस्तो किनभने 72 को अर्थक्वेक त हामीले 72 मा एक्सपिरियन्स गरे हो हैन सर? यदि त्यो त्यहाँको जियोलोजी वीक भएको थियो भने, यदि त्यहाँ सिपेजको प्रब्लम भएको थियो भने नि त्यो त नेक्स्ट लास्ट 4-5 इयर्स देखि हामीले फिल गर्नुपर्ने हैन। तर जुन इन्टेन्सिटीले गर्दा त्यो ल्यान्डस्लाइड जानु पनि त्यो इन्टेन्सिटीको रेनफल पनि होइन त्यो एरियाको हैन। तर अब ठ्याक्कै पिकुलियरै किन गयो भन्ने नै उ भएन के सर?
पिकुलियर यसरी त क्वेशनको एन्सर सोध्न पनि मिल्दैन जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ हैन।
ट्रु, भेरी ट्रु।
किनभने नि यो एउटै स्लोप छ, यही स्लोप छ, दुईटै 45 डिग्री छ भनौं। यहाँ चाहिँ ल्यान्डस्लाइड गइरहेको हुन्छ, योमा ल्यान्डस्लाइड जाँदैन। किनभने चाहिँ यो मोमेन्ट भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ के छ भने सबैभन्दा पावरफुल एजेन्ट भनेको ग्राभिटी। त्यसपछि एजेन्ट भनेको चाहिँ त्यसलाई चाहिँ ट्रिगर गर्ने भनेको चाहिँ वाटर हो हैन। त्यसलाई चाहिँ अब त्यो ग्राभिटीलाई चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ रिटार्ड गर्नलाई रेजिस्ट गर्नलाई सोइलको प्यारामिटर चाहिँ एकदम डिपेन्ड गर्छ। अब हामीसँग डेटाबेस खोइ एउटा कुरा त अब त्यही भएकोले चाहिँ अब लौ न के त गरौँ भनेर चाहिँ हामीले डब्लुआर र डिसीले चाहिँ अहिले डेटाबेसलाई यो वर्ष यति धेरै हामीले फोकस गरेको छौँ कि यो डेटाबेस बनाउने, स्टडी गर्ने, नराख्ने, यो डिस्ट्रिब्युट गर्ने। जसले गर्दाखेरि फर्दर अरू कोही रिसर्चर छ भने उहाँहरूले चाहिँ अझ फर्दर काम गर्नुहुन्छ हैन। अब यसको ठ्याक्कै पेकुलियर चाहिँ एक्जाम्पल के यो रिजन चाहिँ म दिन सक्दिनँ होला म्याडम। आइएम सरी।
हैन सर, त्यो मैले हजुरको एक्सपिरियन्स, किनभने ल्यान्डस्लाइडमा तपाईँको यति धेरै लामो एक्सपिरियन्स भएको भएर एकदमै क्युरियस भयो कि मेलम्ची ल्यान्डस्लाइड एकदमै जानुपर्ने, किन जानुपर्ने हुन्छ नि, त्यो एकदमै क्युरियस चाहिँ नि हुन्छ। हस्, थ्याङ्क यू।
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam, for your nice and very timely questions. अब अर्को क्वेसन यसमा आएको छ, यसमा अनुप खनाल सरले सोध्नु भएको छ, डज योर मोडल कन्सिडर ल्यान्ड युज प्याटर्न अफ द स्टडी एरिया फर द एसेसमेन्ट अफ ससेप्टिबिलिटी भनेर सोध्नु भएको छ।
फर होल नेपाल।
यस, तपाईँले जुन मोडल युज गर्नु
मैले त्यो कन्सिडर गरेको छैन, किनभने नि अहिले भर्खर ESRI ले 10 मिटरको चाहिँ यो ल्यान्ड युज म्याप अफ ल्यान्ड कभर म्याप अफ होल वर्ल्ड जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई त्यो पब्लिस गरेको छ। अनि पहिला अर्को चाहिँ यो सर्वे डिपार्टमेन्टले टोपोग्राफीमा पब्लिस गरेको छ 1991-92 तिरको। अब त्योभन्दा ल्यान्ड युज चाहिँ धेरै चेन्ज भइसकेको छ। र अर्को कुरा भनेको चाहिँ यो अहिले ल्यान्ड युज जुन फ्रीली अभाइलेबल भएको पब्लिकेसन गरेको छ, पब्लिस गरेको छ ESRI ले, त्यसको मलाई चाहिँ ठ्याक्कै एक्युरेसी चाहिँ के हो त्यो मलाई थाहा भएको छैन हैन। त्यसपछि अब त्यसको एक्युरेसी कति छ, त्यो आफै मोडलमा चाहिँ कतिको एक्युरेट छ, कतिको रिलायबल छ भन्ने थाहा नभइकन मैले त ESRI को डाटा त मैले युज गर्न दिँदैन जस्तो लाग्छ, त्यही भएर चाहिँ नगरेको।
Okay. Anup sir, did you get the answer or you have any follow-up question?
Thank you sir. मैले चाहिँ यो एउटा ल्यान्ड युज प्याटर्न पनि एउटा प्यारामिटर हो कि भन्ने हिसाबले सरले त्यसमा चाहिँ कन्सिडर गर्नु भएको कि भएन भन्ने।
होइन, त्यो तपाईको कुरा एकदम सही हो। अब ल्यान्ड युज चेन्ज सँग चाहिँ ल्यान्डस्लाइडको रिलेसन चाहिँ हुन्छ हैन। जस्तै मैले अहिले नै एउटा फोटो पनि देखाएको थिएँ। अब जस्तै डोजर रोड कट जस्तो लाइन लिनामिन बनाएर गयो नि त हैन, त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि अब ल्यान्डस्लाइड त्यो चाहिँ रिलेसन चाहिँ हुन्छ। जस्तै अब फरेस्ट कभर चाहिँ कुछ चेन्जेसमा पनि ल्यान्डस्लाइड आउन सक्छ। त्यस्तै फरेस्ट चेन्ज अथवा फरेस्ट ड्राई भयो, त्यसपछि चाहिँ फरेस्ट फायर भयो, त्यसपछि पनि फेरि अर्को डेब्री फ्लो चाहिँ इनिसिएट हुन सक्छ। त्यो चाहिँ रिलेसन चाहिँ हुन्छ सर।
यस, थ्याङ्क यू सर।
थ्याङ्क यू। अरू कसै सर म्याडमहरूको केही क्वेसन छ कि? हामी चाहिँ स्टिल वी हेभ सम टाइम। ठाकुर प्रसाद शर्मा सरले सोध्नु भएको छ, व्हाट आर द लिमिटेसन अफ द मोडल्स दैट यू युज्ड? Also, are the macro level data used by the models can be downscaled to the small catchment level भनेर सोध्नु भएको छ?
हजुर, पहिला म स्मल क्याचमेन्ट लेभलबाट आउँछु। हाम्रो यहाँ प्रब्लम भनेको चाहिँ DEM को प्रब्लम छ। अहिले हाम्रो यो जति पनि अहिले मेथडहरू रन आउट भन्यो, हाम्रो बनायौँ, सबै चाहिँ DEM चाहिँ अहिले 30x30 मिटरको चाहिँ रेजोल्युसनको DEM युज गरेको छ। त्यो 30x30 मिटरको रेजोल्युसन भनेको चाहिँ रिजनलको लागि चाहिँ ओके वी क्यान युज। तर त्यो सानो सानो क्याचमेन्टहरू छ, जस्तै क्रिक भनौँ, सानो सानो क्रिकहरू छ भने त्यसमा 30x30 मिटरकोले त्यति एप्रोप्रिएट चाहिँ डेटाबेस चाहिँ दिँदैन, त्यो रिजल्ट चाहिँ दिँदैन। त्यसको लागि चाहिँ हामी जस्तै अब कुनै फिजिकल मोडलहरू युज गर्दाखेरि सानो चाहिँ भएको चाहिँ DEMहरू युज गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ बढी चाहिँ एप्रोप्रिएट हुन्छ। त्यसैले मैले अघि पनि भने ठुलो ठाउँमा को ल्यान्डस्लाइड सस्टेनेबल म्याप बनाउनु र सानो ठाउँको ल्यान्डस्लाइड सस्टेनेबल म्याप इभन युजिङ द सेम प्यारामिटर, त्यो रिजल्ट चाहिँ मेबी लिटल बिट डिफरेन्ट।
हस्, मेन कुरो DEM बेटर भयो भने हामी नसक्ने भन्ने कुरै भएन भन्ने कुरा हो नि सर?
हजुर हजुर।
अर्को किशोर भट्टराई सरले सोध्नु भएको छ, इज दिस रिसर्च अर स्टडी इक्वली भ्यालिड फर बोथ डिप सिटेड एन्ड स्यालो ल्यान्डस्लाइड एज सोइल मास मुभमेन्ट मेकानिजम इज टोटली डिफरेन्ट?
यस, मैले यो अहिले चाहिँ प्रेजेन्टेसनमा भन्नु बिर्सेँ, यो चाहिँ सबै स्यालो ल्यान्डस्लाइडको लागि गरेको रिसर्च हो। डिप सिटेडको लागि चाहिँ हामीले यसरी ल्यान्डस्लाइड सस्टेनेबल म्याप अथवा चाहिँ डाइरेक्ट यसरी चाहिँ गर्न चाहिँ यो एउटैमा कम्बाइन गरेर गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो रिजल्टहरू चाहिँ डिफ्रेन्ट आउँछ। अहिले जुन यो ल्यान्डस्लाइड सस्टेनेबिलिटी छ यो चाहिँ अहिले टिपिकली स्यालो ल्यान्डस्लाइड चाहिँ युज गरेको हुन्छ, डिप सिटेडको लागि चाहिँ गरेको छैन। किनभने डिप सिटेडको लागि चाहिँ हामीले एक्सपोज यो स्लिप सर्फेसको आवश्यक हुन्छ होइन, स्लिप सर्फेस राखेर गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। स्लिप सर्फेस राख्नलाई चाहिँ फेरि हामीले चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ ऱ्यान्डम पोइन्ट सेलेक्सन गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ, त्यसले गर्दा एकदम धेरै टाइम लाग्छ। अब यो मैले अहिले यो गरेको चाहिँ जुन यो म्यापिङ गरिरहेको छु, अहिले मैले यो रिजल्ट देखाएँ, त्यो त मलाई यति गर्नलाई चाहिँ मोर देन 1 मन्थ भन्दा पनि बढी टाइम लाग्यो। त्यो अझ भन्ने हो 3 इयर्स त्यो ल्यान्डस्लाइडको जुन हामीले त्यो टान्यो भने त्यो जुन मैले पोलिगनहरू देखाएँ त्यो त मेरो मोर देन 2.5 इयरको हाम्रो चाहिँ त्यो एफोर्ट छ त्यसमा, किनभने हाम्रो त्यत्रो डाटा हाम्रो कम्प्युटरको धान्दैन। अनि टुक्रा टुक्रा गरेर चाहिँ त्यो डिस्ट्रिक्ट त्यसपछि त्यो डाटा एक्सट्र्याक्ट गर्यो, त्यो कम्बाइन गर्दै 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 यो फर्ममा आइपुगेको छ।
एउटा ठाकुर शर्मा सरले सोध्नु भएको छ, सायद प्रोभाब्ली लास्ट क्वेसनको रूपमा लिउँला, 4 बज्यो। हाउ टु इन्टिग्रेट द रिसर्च आउटपुट टु द पोलिसी फ्रेमवर्क, एनी आइडिया? लास्ट वे
अब खास त अब भन्नुपर्दाखेरि जति पनि पोलिसी बन्यो रिसर्च नगरिकन त बनेको त होइन होला, मलाई जस्तो पनि लाग्छ होइन। रिसर्च गरिसकेपछि पोलिसीमा हाल्न सकिन्छ। अब जस्तै यही रिसर्चलाई हेरौँ त, यसले त पछि के देखाउन सक्छ भने ल्यान्डस्लाइड चाहिँ यति स्कोपमा छैन होइन। अब जस्तो अरू मोडलहरू होला फ्लडको, त्यसबाट त आउन सकिन्छ, निकाल्न सकिन्छ नि। जस्तै यति डिग्रीको स्कोपमा चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ सेटलमेन्ट राख्नु हुँदैन भन्ने कुरा निस्किन्छ भनेपछि यो कुरा यस चिजलाई चाहिँ अब जस्तै हामीले प्लानबाट अनि त्यसपछि पोलिसी त्यसमा चाहिँ हामीले लगेर ठ्याक्कै चाहिँ अट्याच गर्न सकिन्छ।
हस्, थ्याङ्क यू सर। सरले अनसेयर गर्नुभयो पनि हुन्छ होला। थ्याङ्क यू सो मच। हामी 4 बजे सुरुमा केही प्राविधिक कारणले अलिकति ढिला हुन गयौँ, त्यसको लागि हामी अघि फेरि पनि क्षमा प्रार्थी छौँ। त्यति हुँदाहुँदै पनि हामीले डिस्कसनको टाइम लामो राखेका चाहिँ यही केही प्राविधिक कुराहरू आउन सक्छ भन्ने किसिमले हो। त्यो हिसाबले डिस्कसनलाई केही छुट्यायौँ, यो यहाँले बुझिदिनु हुनेछ भन्छौँ। अब हामीले समराइज गर्दा कन्क्लुजनमा जान्छौँ र नेक्स्ट अर्को टक सिरिजमा अर्को कुन टक आउँदैछ भन्ने आज सेयर गर्दैछौँ। क्विकली समराइज गर्दा चाहिँ हाम्रो अनन्त सरले एकदमै राम्रो कम्प्रिहेन्सिभ प्रेजेन्टेसन गर्नुभयो। उहाँले चाहिँ ल्यान्डस्लाइड एसेसमेन्ट सस्टेनेबिलिटी म्यापिङको कन्सेप्टदेखि लिएर नेपालमा स्पासियल र टेम्पोरल डिस्ट्रिब्युसन के कसरी भइरहेछ भन्ने कुरादेखि लिएर अरू धेरै कुराहरू कभर गर्नुभयो। इभन रेनफल जुन ल्यान्डस्लाइड ट्रिगरलाई चाहिने रेनफलको थ्रेसहोल्ड कसरी इस्टिमेसन गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने कुराहरू पनि कभर गर्नुभयो। इट वाज रियली कम्प्रिहेन्सिभ एन्ड थ्याङ्क यू सो मच। धेरै इन्टरेक्टिभ डिस्कसन भयो, धेरै खालका धेरै एङ्गलबाट चाहिँ भनौँ न क्वेसनहरू पनि रेज भयो, त्यसले हामीलाई अझ डिपर बुझ्न सहयोग गर्यो। र उहाँले क्लियरली भन्नुभयो हाम्रो नेपालमा ल्यान्डस्लाइड सस्टेनेबिलिटी म्यापिङमा स्पेसली सानो सानो क्याचमेन्टमा हामीले इम्प्लिमेन्टेसनमा जाँदा ठुल्ठुला एरियाहरू खासै त्यति बढी हेर्दैनौँ, किनकि त्यो मोर प्लानिङसँग सरोकार राख्छ। इम्प्लिमेन्टेसनमा जाँदाखेरि सानसाना क्याचमेन्टमा हेर्नुपर्ने, तर त्यही लिमिटेसन भनेको डिएमको हाम्रो लिमिटेसन छ भन्ने कुरा नि क्लियरली औँल्याउनु भयो। त्यस्तै गरी पोलिसी प्र्याक्टिसको लागि भनेर जुन उहाँले स्टडी गर्नुभएको छ त्यो एनडिआरआरएमए लगायतका अरू रिलेभेन्ट अर्गनाइजेसनलाई नि सेयर गर्ने कुरा गर्नुभयो। हामीलाई लाग्छ यसले चाहिँ इन्फर्म पोलिसी र प्र्याक्टिसमा ठुलो सहयोग हुनेछ ल्यान्डस्लाइड रिस्क रिडक्सनलाई भन्ने चाहिँ हाम्रो बुझाइ हो। ओभरअल समराइज मैले यति नै गरेँ। र फाइनल्ली चाहिँ अब हाम्रो नेक्स्ट टक हामीले सुरुमै भन्यो, यसलाई फ्राइडे टक सिरिजको रूपमा हामीले नेन्सिडले यसलाई अगाडि बढाउने जमर्को गरेको छ र यो पहिलो एपिसोड थियो। अर्को एपिसोड चाहिँ हाम्रो 11 भाद्र 2078 अथवा 20 अगस्त 2021मा 15 बजे अथवा यही समयमा हुनेछ, त्यो पनि 1 घन्टाको हुनेछ। र डाक्टर दिवस बहादुर बस्नेत सरले सिस्टम स्केल प्लानिङ फर वाटर इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेभलपमेन्ट भन्ने टपिक्समा त्यो टक दिनुहुनेछ। वी विल बी सेन्डिङ डिटेल्स इन इमेल अल्सो, प्लिज ब्लक योर क्यालेन्डर। एन्ड थ्याङ्क यू सो मच फर योर एक्टिभ पार्टिसिपेसन एन्ड इन्करेजिङ interaction. Have a nice weekend and see you in the next talk program in the series. Namaskar sabaiलाई।